answer any questions from Case Brittain.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Armando. May I please score?
Yes.
Good morning, Presnell. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. My name's Case Brittain. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions, I'm not going to be up here too long. I think I heard you say that you couldn't list the order of shots.
Right. At the time of autopsy, I can't tell which one came first, second, third, fourth, fifth.
Did the crime scene photo help you in determining? Could they help you out?
No.
Did you use any crime scene photos?
I have pictures of the overall body when they first found it, recovered it, but that's it.
And you're aware that body was recovered in Marion County?
Yes. In fact, the Marion County coroner is the one that authorized the autopsy.
And a Marion County deputy, I believe, Lieutenant Holtag, brought the body to you? Is that correct?
Well, I don't know if he brought the body. Usually the coroner transport will, but he was a detective that was there, yes. And he received all the evidence that we collected.
At that time, did you believe that the crime had taken place or that the body was in Marion County?
I didn't. I knew that the body was found there. I had no opinion really on where it perhaps might have occurred.
But I apologize. So back to the gunshots, you said because of the submersion in water, you can't tell what shots, what order they were?
No, it's frequently you won't be able to tell what order gunshots will occur unless something happened days before and there's evidence of healing at the time of death or days afterward when there's, for example, no bleeding associated with it. So no, it's not that it was decomposing or that there was some insect activity. I can't tell the order at the time of autopsy.
Okay, but can you tell, I believe you just said that you believe that the headshot was the fatal shot?
I said it is a fatal shot. The one to the chest also could have hit the aorta, which would be considered a fatal shot. And then the other two are mostly soft tissue, or the other three, I'm sorry, are mostly soft tissue injuries.
So, toxicology report, we revealed some marijuana. You said you did the appropriate testing. Is there any other testing you could do? Hair follicles that would give you any kind of other drug results?
I think you'd have to consult a toxicologist to what it is that you're looking for. I know, for example, I think some people have used hair follicles for arsenic and things like that, but that wasn't really something that was addressed in this situation.
I think I heard you say you alluded to skin slippage. Is that the same thing as grave wax?
I'm not familiar with the term grave wax, but skin slippage is it's not like you lose all your skin and you can see the muscle inside. It's just the outermost layer of skin will come off, so you still have your underlying dermis or dermal layer. But that's just the process of decomposition as the body starts to fall apart.
Dr. Presnell, could you estimate the time of death given the body and the condition it was in after being submerged in water for over 30 days?
No, I did not attempt to do that.
And you would agree that the body had been deformed to some extent because of animal activity. Maggot formations we know were there, but fish, creatures, crocodiles, alligators in that brackish water, they could have had some part into the decomposition as well.
Alligator activity I would have suspected to be able to detect because it would be pretty significant. But there were a couple areas that were on the diagram that weren't colored that looked like maybe that could have been some marine activity.
Did you notice or could you tell of any defensive wounds?
No, the wounds that I could tell were the gunshots, then the two holes connecting each other, and then again there's a couple areas of just superficial defects that might have been marine activity, so nothing specifically a defense injury.
Now, most of the shots, they seem to occur on the left side, is that correct?
Yes.
How was the body presented to you when you first looked at it?
He's just on a stretcher.
What position is he in?
He would have been on his back.
He'd been on his back.
I mean, he might have been On his side, I don't have a photograph of him on the stretcher. Just once we move him to the autopsy table, we'll definitely make sure he's laid out so we can evaluate him. But yeah, so I don't specifically recall if he was on his back or on his side.
When does rigor mortis typically set in?
Well, rigor mortis typically sets in after about 2 hours. It really depends on the individual and what they were doing at the time of death. It could actually happen earlier, but usually it starts in about 2 hours.
Is there a way through your science to be able to establish the amount of time he was in the water?
Not that I know of.
Would there be any difference between the salinity of the brackish water, fresh water, and just straight ocean water and the decomposition rate?
Not that I'm up to date on.
Not that you're up to date on?
Right.
Does that mean you don't know?
I don't specifically know. I don't remember in any of my training or experience it being a huge difference. I imagine if something is like the Dead Sea and is extra salty, that maybe there might be some preservation to that, but I haven't looked into that recently.
That's fine, Dr. Presnell. I'm not trying to beat you up on anything like that. I just would imagine that salt water, would help preserve. Since you use salt, pure hand and stuff, it would help kind of.
Right.
That's just a question is to see the slow to the decomposition. That's all.
Right.
Thank you. Would freezing a body and then taking it somewhere else and then submerging it in water, that's got to have a different effect, correct, on the tissue?
Yes, so freezing a body, and I apologize for the comparison, but it would be similar to putting something in the freezer in your home. It's going to obviously prevent, hugely stop decomposition. However, once you unfreeze that object or that person, the freezing act itself has disrupted some of the cells, so as it starts to thaw, decomposition actually starts to accelerate once they thaw.
In this circumstance, is there a way to tell if the body was frozen and then thawed?
Not by autopsy, no.
Going back to the gunshots, they seem to have been to the line on the left side, is that correct?
Yes, 4 on the left side of the body and then the 1 to the front of the right leg.
I don't want you to use your expert opinion, but a theory. Would you say the gunshots would go up or down?
So again, I'm a little hampered by the state of the body, but I can tell from the x-ray that the gunshot to the head is going in an upward direction, obviously from his right to his left, but upward and back. The one to the right chest, I can just tell is going to his right. There's too much deflation of the tissues and whatnot to see if it's going up or down. And likewise, the ones to the left hip just kind of look like they're going straight across as well. The one to the right thigh might be going upward direction a little bit.
If the headshot is first, is he still standing?
No, he would not be.
If the chest shot is first, is he still standing?
He could be.
He could be. So we can eliminate the headshot being first.
I don't know.
Don't know?
Well, if he was shot in the head and then he fell, he then could then have been shot more on where the other gunshots were.
So just play with me a little bit. In my little theory, my little head here, you shoot him in the head, he drops, and then there's really zero reason to go put haphazardly 5 more shots in him.
Objection, Your Honor. That's not even remotely in her area of expertise.
She said, given what you have looked at, is it possible that the headshot was the final shot?
Yes.
Is it possible that the person staggered around after being shot in the leg?
Yes.
Is it possible that the person shooting wasn't that good with a gun.
I can't comment on that.
Based on your 26 years of experience, many different bodies you've encountered, and gunshot wounds that you've seen, the display of gunshot wounds on that body, do they look like they were shot by somebody that's got marksman skills?
Again, hard to answer because largely because the person being shot at isn't necessarily going to stand still.
Correct. They're going to jump around.
Or fall down.
Or fall down. Or fall down. That's right. They'll fall down. Is it possible that you could shoot a body, not close range, right? We're not close range because of no suits. Excuse me. I do that all the time. Or stifling? Stippling? And still get blood on you?
I'm sorry, what is the question?
If I'm not close to you, if I'm not close enough to you to where there's the soot residue of the stipend, is it possible for me to get blood on my person? What's the typical blood splatter? Would there be any blood splatter?
Yeah, so I will have to be upfront and say blood spatter is not an area of my expertise. However, I would say if you're at a distant range, and keep in mind though, well, number one, I wasn't able to evaluate whether this is a contact, a close range, or a distant gunshot. However, that being said, if I was, a distant gunshot wound can be as close as a yard away. So could blood get from, I guess it depends what they hit as far as how far the blood would go. So ultimately, I don't know the answer to that, but I also don't know the range of fire, so it's kind of difficult.
Thank you. That's where I was going to go next. It's kind of funny when you look at this. It says not a close range shot and not a mid range shot, a distant shot. But a distant shot's like a yard away, so that the distance kind of throws you off there a little bit. It throws me off a little bit. When I was thinking long range shot, I think even further back, like sniper type stuff. Honestly, that's just because I don't do much with guns.
Objection, Your Honor. Is there a question at some point?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was just trying to explain. I apologize. Close indulgence, Your Honor.
All right.
Not Bliss.
All right.
Thank you.
Read Brett.
Just very briefly, Mr. Brittain just asked if you were able to tell if the shooter was a good shot or not. The victim was shot 5 times, correct?
At least 5, yes.
At least 5. You mentioned that at the beginning of your examination, you knew the victim's height and weight. How tall was Mr. Rice?
His remains at the time of autopsy were 73.5 inches, which is 6 feet 1.5 inches.
Thank you, because I always have trouble converting that. You said that it's his remains, so could that have changed from when he was alive?
I mean, it's not as, the body isn't as firm, maybe more relaxed, so, yes, there could be a slight difference.
And then there was some talk about if you freeze a body. Does, I'm assuming MUSC has a morgue or someplace that you store bodies.
Yes.
Do you store them in coolers?
We do.
Do those coolers freeze the bodies?
No, we have a freezer as well as the cooler, but most bodies are stored in the cooler. That does not freeze the body.
Thank you, nothing further.
All right, you may step down.
Your Honor, I would ask that Dr. Presnell be